What's up, guys? Welcome to another edition of Extreme Daily Drivers. We are always balling on a budget and wrenching our garage. Today is ABS Delete Part 2, and I got a box here from Amazon of a bunch of goodies. In between the videos, you may notice in the background that I've been a little bit busy pulling engines. There it is. I'm not doing an engine swap. The car's getting painted, so this is the perfect time to go ahead and address the ABS and get our brake lines exactly the way we want to. So we're going to open this box, find out what's in here, and yeah, get started. Alright, so before we get into bending brake lines and putting new fittings on them and cutting brake lines and all that good stuff, let me show you some tools that I got from Amazon. Every single one of these you can purchase from Amazon, and you can get them just by clicking on the link in the description below. So if you're interested in doing this, all this stuff here together is right around $100. Obviously these tools will last a lifetime. I didn't skimp on the tools. I did not get the best tools, but I got very good tools because you never know when you might want to do this in the future. So anyway, let's start off with some brake line. Got 25 feet of this 3/16 steel brake line. If you use a tubing cutter, this is what it will look like when you cut it, all ready to be flared out. If you use pliers, this is what it looks like. Completely useless. All right. So speaking of cutting it, right? This is the little tube cutter that I got. It works really well. This is a tubing bender. Put the tube in here, make your bends. It's pretty straightforward. I will tell you this is a little bit difficult to use with the brake line on the car. If the brake line's off the car and you're making brand new lines, then this guy does an awesome job. This does work on the car, but there's some areas where it makes it difficult. This guy right here, this is how you make your flares. I'm going to show you how all this stuff works, but this is a little anvil. You put your brake line in there, close the anvil down, stick the little adapter in, crank it all down, flip the adapter over, crank it down, and gives you a real nice flare. Finally, we got some of these guys. Alright, so we got some fittings that are metric, because there are metric and standard. I didn't know that when I started this, but yeah, there's some metrics. So we got some nice new fittings, as well as like a junction point in case I had to extend anything. These guys here that came with the brake lines, they are all standard, so they're no good for us. If we had a Ford, these would be great, but since we're working Japanese, we had to order some extra stuff here. So that about does it. Now let's get on to removing master cylinders. Alright, so here's the engine, how it currently sits. Engine pulled along with a wiring harness and a bunch of stuff tucked over the sides of the fenders. Gives us a ton of room to actually work with here. So the first thing that we're going to do today is we're going to go ahead and remove the master cylinder, 2 bolts, and 2 brake lines that need to be disconnected from there. And we're going to swap it out for the one that I got from eBay a couple weeks ago. Okay, so here are the 2 master cylinders. This is the one I just took off the car for ABS. And this is the one that we're going to install. What's the difference between these two? I actually can't tell you. I will definitely tell you, though, that there is a difference, because when I went to order this last year, it was kind of hard to find. Where the non-ABS one, they're kind of everywhere. Alright, so that didn't take us too long to find out that we do have a difference in the 2 master cylinders. So I went ahead and threw on the new master cylinder and stuck it in here, and while doing that, I attempted to reattach the brake lines and came up with a problem right off the rip. So the issue is if you're kind of looking at it, not really looking at it, you'll know they look the same, but they are different. So yeah, we got kind of the standard fitting there, and on this side we got this bulky guy, which works great on the ABS master cylinder, but on the non-ABS master cylinder, we don't have, the hole is not big enough for one of these fittings. It's made for one of these fittings. So what we're going to do is we are going to push this guy back a little bit. We're going to cut off this flare, slide this guy out, and then we're going to install one of those new nuts that I got off Amazon, and we're going to re-flare this, and then we'll be good to go to reinstall our master cylinder. Took a minute, but we got it. Non-ABS master cylinder installed. So the master cylinder is installed. Here are all our brake lines. Again, on the non-ABS Prelude, you have this area right here where you can mount the proportional valve, but I wanted to go a little bit lower. Wanted to do something a little bit different too than having it right here. So really you can mount it anywhere on this firewall. So you can see in this photo right here, Bobby Diaz mounted his on the firewall. He's the one that gave me the idea for this. He's the one that gave me the confidence. It made me believe I could do it myself. So yeah, he mounted his, I think, right here. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to mount mine right here. So before we start bending brake lines and manipulating things, let's talk about the proportional valve. As you can see here, this is a diagram showing where everything goes. The two bottom lines are going to be your feed lines from the master cylinder. It does not matter which is which. They can be mixed up. It doesn't matter. Your first one, top left, is going to be your passenger front. And you got the two rear brakes on the top, rear right, rear left. And then you're going to have, finally, the driver's side front all the way at the end. Okay, so I got the proportional valve mounted. I only got one bolt through there, but it's nice and tight. I'll probably put a self-tapper through here when all is said and done. But I used an existing hole that was already here, which made everything much easier. So got this guy mounted, and I've just been kind of playing around with these stock lines. My goal is to keep these stock lines and reuse them. So what I did was I bent them up here. They were coming straight out. I put a bend in them using the tool that I got from Amazon. And then down here, I've just been messing around with this one. You can see how they have like a slight bend. And what I want to do is get it as straight as I can and then make my final bend for when they actually go into the valve. So what I did here is I made this one as straight as I can. This will slide all the way down now. And what I was using to make the bends are just sockets. I used this guy, and then I used this guy. So I've been manhandling these brake lines. I got the rears bent and down. I think they look pretty good. So now we're moving on to front right. So I'm going to get this guy manipulated so it goes into this hole. So far so good. Now this one is going to have to be cut, as well as these down here. But yeah, making progress. So I'm making some progress here. This guy was hard to do, man. It's got this kooky little bend right here, which I may be able to bang out of there when all's said and done. But this one annoys me. This bottom one, which is a feed line, this was pretty darn easy. Just kind of bent it around. Then we have another feed line that's going to bend up and in, which is actually this one right here, this top one here. So I'm going to basically do the exact same thing, just on this side. And then this one here is going to be a pain in the butt. It's this line that I've been kind of messing with for a minute. And I'm not sure how I want to do it. Yeah, I got to figure this one out. So there you have it, guys. Finished product. Yeah, that brake line is really wavy there. But it's not touching any of the other lines, as you can see. So it shouldn't be an issue. But yeah, it is crazy wavy. Really difficult to reuse the stock line on that one, at least for me. The other ones I got pretty good. Don't care for the way this top brake line turned out. It also has a wave in it. The steel brake lines are actually really easy to manipulate. They are very forgiving. You can bend them one way, bend them back the other way. To a degree. Obviously, if you do it 100 times, you'll wind up breaking it. But they are very strong, which is probably why they're used in most cars. So because of how strong they are, when the bends get towards the end, it makes it very difficult to straighten that out. So I did the best I could. Maybe someday I'll go back and address it. For right now, it's cool. I'm thinking it's going to get hidden anyway with an idea that I have for a fuse box relocation. So, yeah. But we're done. We're done. Now, will it leak like a sieve? Only time will tell. When the car gets back from paint, before the engine goes in, we are going to make sure these brakes are good. So we're going to fill it up with a fluid, pump them, get them all pressurized, and make sure that nothing's leaking in the engine bay before putting the engine in. So look forward to that. Let's find out if what I did just made a big mess of things, or if it actually will hold fluid. But anyway, that's the video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please hit that like button. Please subscribe. And we'll see you next time.